The war room of the Valkyrian Imperial flagship fell silent as Prince Theron stared at the holographic display, his three eyes widening in disbelief. Beside him, Prince Kalen of the Sci-fi Collective felt his crystalline skin pulse with fear. The data streaming across their screens defied everything they understood about warfare, about power, about the natural order of the galaxy. "This cannot be accurate," Theron whispered, his mandibles clicking nervously. "Run the analysis again." The tactical officer, a seasoned warrior who had fought in 17 campaigns across 4 sectors, worked the controls with trembling appendages. "Your Highness, I have run it 6 times. The conclusion remains unchanged." Jessica Martinez sat in the cramped cockpit of her reconnaissance mech, the Wanderer, as she reviewed the battle footage with her partner, James Chen. The small craft hummed with residual energy, its stealth systems still cooling down from their recent engagement. Outside the reinforced viewport, the debris field of what had once been a Valkyrian forward fleet drifted in the eternal darkness of space. "We really stirred up a hornet's nest this time," James remarked, his fingers dancing across the communication console. "Command is going to have questions about why we engaged a force 50 times our size." Jessica allowed herself a slight smile. "They fired first. We were just gathering intel on their fleet composition, like the mission parameters specified. How were we supposed to know they'd consider 2 scout mechs a threat worth deploying an entire battle group against?" The truth was more complex than either wanted to admit. The Terran Scout Corps wasn't just about reconnaissance. They were the tip of the spear, the eyes and ears that ventured into the unknown reaches of space where humanity's enemies lurked. Each scout unit consisted of just 2 mechs, lightly armed by human standards, designed for speed and stealth rather than prolonged combat. What the aliens didn't understand was that human, lightly armed meant something entirely different than their definition. Back on the Valkyrian flagship, Prince Theron reviewed the engagement timeline for the 7th time. His fleet had detected the human scouts near the Tertius system, well within territory the Coalition had claimed as their own. Standard protocol demanded immediate action. The humans were encroaching, and the Coalition princes had agreed that humanity needed to be taught a lesson about respecting established boundaries. "We deployed 47 warships," Theron said aloud, as if speaking the words would help him comprehend what had happened. 47. Against 2 of their scout units. Prince Kalen's voice carried the weight of dawning horror. "And we lost 31 ships in 14 minutes. The tactical display showed the battle in excruciating detail. The 2 human mechs had initially attempted to withdraw when the Coalition fleet emerged from hyperspace. For 3 full minutes they had accelerated away, their smaller drives no match for the combined speed of the pursuing armada. The Coalition commanders had been confident, perhaps even gleeful. The hunt was on, then the humans had stopped running. Jessica remembered the moment clearly. James had been the first to speak, his voice calm despite the swarm of hostile contacts filling their sensors. "Jess, they're not letting us leave. They want a fight." "Then we give them one," she had replied, her hand steady on the controls. "But we make it quick. Hit and fade, just like training." What happened next would be analyzed in military academies across the galaxy for generations to come. The 2 scout mechs split apart, their movements synchronized with inhuman precision. Jessica's Wanderer pivoted and unleashed a barrage from its primary weapon system, what humans casually referred to as a light railgun. The tungsten slugs, accelerated to a fraction of light speed, tore through the shields of the lead Valkyrian cruiser as if they were paper. James, piloting Shadow Dancer, deployed a spread of what the mission logs designated as defensive countermeasures. To the Coalition fleet, they appeared as simple chaff and decoys. By the time they realized each countermeasure contained a microfusion warhead, 12 ships had been reduced to expanding clouds of superheated plasma. "How?" Prince Theron demanded, slamming his armored fist against the console. "How did scout units carry weapons of this magnitude?" "Our intelligence indicated humans reserved such firepower for capital ships." The tactical officer pulled up a comparison chart. "Your Highness, their scout mechs they're overpowered by any reasonable standard. The energy output from their reactor systems alone exceeds our heavy cruisers, and these were just 2 units. Their actual military fleet." The officer didn't need to finish the sentence. The implications hung in the air like a death sentence. The battle had continued for another 11 minutes, though battle was perhaps too generous a term. Jessica and James had danced through the coalition formation like vengeful spirits, their mech's AI-assisted targeting systems identifying weaknesses and exploiting them with ruthless efficiency. They didn't stay still long enough to be targeted, and when the coalition ships did manage to land hits, the humans' shield technology absorbed impacts that should have vaporized them. "We need to return to base," Jessica had finally said, her mech's ammunition reserves running low. "We've made our point." "Agreed," James replied, "though I think we may have made it a bit too emphatically." As the two scout mechs engaged their hyperdrives and vanished into the void, they left behind a debris field and a group of alien princes who would never see humanity the same way again. In the present, Prince Kalen accessed the Coalition's intelligence database, his worst fears confirmed. The humans have 600 scout units in active service. 600. If just 2 could do this to our forward fleet. Prince Theron felt something he had never experienced in his 30 cycles of military service. Genuine fear. "How many actual warships do they possess?" The answer came from the tactical officer, his voice barely a whisper. "According to our latest intelligence, 12,000 capital ships, Your Highness, not counting their support vessels, carrier groups, or orbital defense platforms." The war room fell silent once more. The Coalition had mobilized its greatest fleet in living memory to confront what they believed was an upstart species, a young race that didn't understand its place in the galactic hierarchy. They had planned to strike at humanity's colony worlds, to teach them humility through overwhelming force. They had thought themselves predators confronting prey. Prince Theron looked at the holographic display, at the spinning wreckage of his fleet, at the calculated trajectories showing how precisely the humans had dismantled ships that had ruled the stars for millennia. A terrible understanding settled over him. "We didn't fight humanity's military," he said quietly. "We only fought a human scout unit. 2 scouts doing routine reconnaissance." Prince Kalen's crystalline form seemed to dim. "What have we done?" In the depths of space, Jessica and James filed their after-action report, noting the hostile encounter and the regrettable loss of Coalition vessels. Command would handle the diplomatic fallout. They were just scouts, after all, doing what scouts did best, exploring the unknown and occasionally reminding the galaxy why humanity had earned its place among the stars. The report ended with a simple observation that James insisted on including. "Recommend updating first contact protocols. Locals appear unfamiliar with Terran military doctrine and standard defensive capabilities." Jessica had laughed at that. Leave it to James to turn the complete destruction of an alien battle group into a polite suggestion for updating training materials. Behind them, the debris continued its slow drift through the cosmos, a monument to the day 2 princes learned that in the vast darkness of space, humanity's scouts were the least of their worries.